Hey there, Facebook friends. Karyn Kuniyuki here from the Emmanuel School of Fine Arts, and we're gonna throw down another lesson today all about contour line drawing. And what you are seeing here in front of you is a very famous contour line drawing made by Pablo Picasso, and he was drawing his subject Igor Stravinsky, a famous composer. So contour line, what is it? It is a line that follows the edge or the outline of your subject. So you are drawing the silhouette of a given object or a figure, a person, and contour lines can also be used to show some of the interior details, but usually contoured line drawings have no shading. So we are not worried about shadows and highlights today. We are just focusing on the outline edge of an object. Let me see, I've got some other examples of contour line drawing here. Just a pair of shoes. In my announcement for this class, I asked that anybody who wanted to participate gather up either a house plant or some kind of object that they have around their home, a little tchotchke, a collectible. It could even be a pair of shoes. And if you are lacking all of that, it could be a photograph. But you want to focus on the outline of the subject and just ignore any of the shading and highlight details. Here's another contour line drawing. This one specifically, it looks like they used just one line. They started, they put their pencil down, and they drew the subject entirely with one line, never picking up their drawing tool off the paper. This, I'm guessing, is a blind contour drawing. And the reason I'm guessing that is because it looks a little wonky. It doesn't look proportional. One eye is placed higher than the other. And in one of the exercises we do today, we're going to be looking at our subject the whole entire time, and we're never going to look at our paper. And the result is going to be silly. It is going to look strange, and some of us are going to immediately dislike it because it's not perfect and it doesn't look right. But in the process of training your brain to follow the edges of a subject, you are becoming a stronger drawer. You are developing your skills as an artist. So don't be afraid of results that look a little crazy and a little funny. Here's one where, again, I think that artist was working in line, but they were not picking their pencil up very much off the paper. And this, in contrast to the one before it, it would appear that they were looking at their subject quite a bit. Up, down, constantly looking back at their subject to make sure that they had the facial features in the right place and everything is proportional and the right size, and they had a much more realistic result. But that's because they were looking at their subject more. Here's another example of blind contour drawing. We can absolutely tell that it is a person playing a guitar. So the important features are there. We can see up here those tuning implements on a guitar. We can see the shape of the body of the guitar. We can clearly see a hand, and there's a face with a big old schnoz there, and maybe even a hat. But it's not realistic. It doesn't look like it would in a photograph, but we can recognize what the subject is. And then here's an example. This is something that took me quite a bit of time, and it's not a blind contour drawing. I was drawing with one continuous line as much as I possibly could. I have multiple different plants here. I used my house plants and I arranged them in a composition, and then I just sat all morning long drawing the outline of each of the plants. And then when I was done with this, I took it into Photoshop, and that was the colored picture you saw here. I took it into Photoshop and I colored it in Photoshop like I would in a coloring book. And it was just an exercise, an idea that I had and explored at home on my own free time. So we're gonna turn the light on here, and I've got some subjects, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this at home. Shout out to my mom. I don't know if she notices, but I did put a piece of mat board down on my desk today to get rid of the shiny reflection. That was good feedback. Thank you, Mom. I think it's a lot easier to see. I hope it is for all of you. So I've got a piece of paper, and I've got a subject here, and I am going to draw in Sharpie so that you can see it better. But if you're following along these ideas at home, it would be a good idea to use a pencil, because pencil erases. If you wanted to change something or go back and fix it, pencil would be your item of choice. But you can't really see pencil very well on my video, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Sharpie. All right, I'm going to also tilt my seashell here so that I'm looking at it head on to the shell, and then I'm just going to draw down here. So the first exercise I'm going to do is blind contour, and I am not going to look at my paper while I draw. I'm going to make direct eye contact with here, and I'm going to pick a starting point. Let's say I'm going to start over here in this corner, and when I put my drawing pen down on the paper, I am going to just follow with my eye slowly, and as my eye travels around the outside of the shell, wow, my hand is shaky this morning. See, even teachers are nervous to use new tools and get online with their teaching style. Okay, so I'm going to follow along the outside line, and I'm going to go all the way into the curve of my seashell. And I'm going to try very, very hard not to pick up my pen, and I'm also not going to look at my paper. So here goes. And I'm trying to get each one of these little nubbies around the edge of my, I believe this is a whelk shell. Feel free to correct me if you're a shell collector. I also realized I gave myself a really tiny piece of paper, so maybe with the next one I'll give myself a larger piece of paper. And I have not looked down at my paper yet, and this is particularly hard because I am having to ignore the phone that's right next to my face that is pointed down at my paper, so all kinds of challenges this morning. I hope everybody's doing well, staying home and not running errands. I know a lot of birthday parties have been canceled, and including my son. My son had a birthday party last week that we had to cancel to keep everybody healthy and safe and practice that social distancing. It stinks, kiddos, I know. We're just going to have to find some different ways to entertain ourselves. Okay, so I'm at the center of my shell and I choose to stop. I didn't do too bad. That looks like a shell. Now, in a semi-blind contour drawing, you would try to look at your subject and your paper infrequently. So if this were a semi-blind contour drawing, at this point I could go back and figure out that I've got a line right here that's important, and I'm missing that line right here. So I can study my subject and look at my paper and reposition my pen and go back and add in a couple of those details. That would be a semi-blind. So blind is when you can't see it at all. You don't look at your paper, you only look at your subject. Semi-blind is when you look at your paper to position your pen, and then you look back at your subject. Draw as much as you can, and then look back down at your paper to position your pen again, and you go back and forth like that. Let's look at another example I've got here of a semi-blind contour drawing. And I did this one before we started our video because I just wanted to have it on hand and ready. So with this cool little guy, Not really sure where this came from. Our family has taken a lot of travels and seen a lot of different parts of the world. My husband is Japanese American, and he grew up as an embassy brat all over the world. So we've got some crazy little tchotchkes around our house that come from all different countries. And I just thought this guy had a lot of really cool irregular edges and things to follow. So when I started this semi-blind drawing, I started at the head, right here on his nose, and I followed that all the way around and followed the blue mark. I went all the way around the head, and I finished up by the nose again. Then I lifted up my pen, and I looked at my subject, and I looked at my paper, and I put my pen down over here. And I drew the back scales of the dragon until I went off the paper. And then I looked up once again, and repositioned my pen to the third point, and I followed the red course here, and I did the belly of the dragon. So I can continue with this, looking down and looking up to get other details. Maybe I would want to paint or draw the eye. That would give me a better idea of what I am drawing. And you could also do some of the scales to get some of that detail to really make it look like a dragon. So that is semi-blind contour. And then I told y'all to get a houseplant or something of this nature around your house to draw. And so I will get a larger piece of paper here. And I'm going to do just a contour line drawing. So when you're just contour line drawing, you can look at your plant or your subject as much as you want to. I am going to do it with one line. So I am going to try very hard not to pick up my pen once I decide to put it down. So here goes. It's okay if your lines overlap. They probably are going to need to overlap in order for you to get all of those little details where you need them. You'll notice I'm retracing my steps here to get the veins of my leaf. That's okay. I still haven't lifted up my pen at all. It's been on the paper the entire time. Now I'm not going to lie, my hand is cramping a little bit. I am gripping the pen quite hard. I think it's because I'm nervous about teaching online, and the struggle is real. I've tried to talk some other teachers into teaching online, and some are concerned about how they look, about what they're wearing, about the camera angle, people who don't like to have their picture taken anyway. They're not happy about teaching online, and so it's a little bit hard to get over that nervous sensation that everybody is watching you, and if you make a mistake, everybody's going to see it. I think that's how my kids feel on a daily basis. They go to middle school. I would imagine that that is a very real fear for them every single day. So I've reached the edge of my cup. I'm going to put the inner lip of my cup here. Again, you see, I have done no shading at all. Now my cup, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's got some cool like grooves kind of scratched in the surface, and it gives it an interesting texture on the surface. And I think I'm getting to a finishing point soon. I'm going to add a couple more veins. I'm going to end. If I decided to go back and keep with the one line, then I would put my pen down right where I finished and I would just continue. At this point, once you have a cool contour line drawing, you can either leave it as a contour line drawing, or you could come back in with colored pencils and you could color your drawing. You could come back with marker, crayon, watercolor paint, anything you want. You could do what I did. I took a photograph of my drawing, put it in the computer, and then I colored it using the, I used Photoshop, but you could use Procreate or any one of those other programs. I've got one other example here. Little camera, a camera clock that I did. That's the little camera clock drawing. So this was a semi-blind that I did, and I just looked up when I needed to look up at the, I looked down at my paper when I needed to reposition my pen and get all those angles and things. And you'll see that after I was done, I decided that I really wanted to make it look more like a camera, so I used one line and I did some cross hatching with that one line to create those dark spaces. But in general, a contour line drawing does not have shading in it. But once you draw it, it's yours and you can make it into anything that you want. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Feel free to shoot me a request if there's something your kids really want to see how to do, or they want to see me do it. Please put those requests on our Emmanuel School of Fine Arts Facebook page. Check out some of our other videos. We had a fantastic drummer, one of our instructors, Jimmy Shanks. He got online yesterday and he was drumming with fish sticks, I believe. In the comments, he's got drumming with fish sticks. So you don't have to have a drum kit at home in order to learn some different aspects of drumming. We have ukulele lessons up by Ellen Meyer and more to come very soon. But I would love to have your suggestions for future art lessons. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have fun with these contour line drawings, and please share your results in the comments so that everybody can see what you're doing. My sister-in-law was kind enough to post some ages. You know, she said that one drawing was by a 12-year-old, one drawing was by a 6-year-old, and that's fun too, to see all the different levels that are participating. So have an awesome day, an awesome weekend. If I'm not back tomorrow, I will be back on Monday, because Emmanuel School of Fine Arts, our brick and mortar school downtown in San Angelo, is going to close its doors on Monday and stay closed until April 3rd. So I really hope that this Facebook page will help reach families while we're closed, and we look forward to helping out as many families as we can during this pandemic. Hang in there, you guys. Have a great day. Bye.